AD 2037. Luna Chasey gazed through the glass viewport of her spacecraft at the scene unfolding below. A planet's surface, marred by savage fissures, oozed endless lava that spread from the cracks in its crust, devouring oceans and continents. Water vaporized under the intense heat, forming an immense cloud that enveloped the planet. Then a light erupted from the planet's core. Silently, within the void of space, the entire planet began to shatter, as fragile as a crystal sphere. Her, heart heavy, tears welled in her eyes, because that destroyed world was her home, and the home of all humanity, Earth. 1 hour earlier, humanity's cradle was struck directly by an intense gamma-ray burst originating from a supernova. Under the massive energy surge, Earth's atmosphere was instantly destroyed. Countless lives perished in agony. The gamma-ray burst altered the magnetic fields of every planet in the solar system, including the sun itself. The entire solar system descended into chaos. Earth, knocked off its orbital path, was pulled towards the sun and, under the immense gravitational forces, will be torn to shreds. Today was April 27th. It was a grand fireworks display, as if announcing humanity's extinction day. Luna could hardly breathe. She wasn't some high-ranking government official or a scientific genius, just a regular office worker at a new-age AI company. Their AI company had partnered with a prominent Earth-based rocket company to design a massive liquid-fueled rocket capable of carrying a payload exceeding 420 tons, pushing the physical limits of transport. Just moments before, she had been conducting the final AI adjustments and tests on the rocket. This rocket carried their company's cutting-edge AI server, capable of performing calculations at speeds approaching those of the most basic quantum computers. As a core engineer, it was her responsibility to ensure the stability of the computer software. And then, the apocalypse arrived, without any warning, as current human observation methods were unable to surpass the speed of light. And a gamma-ray burst was a burst of light. When the gamma-ray burst hit Earth, every electronic device malfunctioned. This error caused the rocket to ignite prematurely, launching Luna, who was still inside, away from Earth and to safety. So, am I the last surviving human? Sitting in the cramped cockpit, Luna gasped for breath. She hadn't undergone professional training, and the rocket's acceleration had taken a toll on her body. At this moment, the entire cockpit lit up, indicating it had successfully weathered the gamma-ray burst. Hopefully the electronics are okay. When the gamma rays hit, Luna had quickly shut down the power, unsure if it would save anything. She pressed a red start button. Everything lit up, including the main screen, which brought her a sigh of relief. She looked at the trajectory displayed on the screen. The endpoint was Mars. This spacecraft had been designed to carry people to Mars. "Hey, Ayla," a voice responded in the silent cockpit. "How can I help you?" The AI was still functioning, which gave Luna a jolt of hope. Ayla was currently humanity's most advanced artificial intelligence, possessing incredibly powerful computational abilities and information storage. She was essentially a walking encyclopedia. Calculate the probability of other human survivors on Earth. Luna still clung to a sliver of hope that she wasn't alone. After performing the calculations, Ayla has determined the probability of any other life surviving on Earth is 0.0272%. Furthermore, even if there were survivors, you lack the means to rescue them. The coldly logical voice made Luna feel even worse. What about the space station? There must have been astronauts in the low Earth orbit space station. Ayla, send a signal. No response. No satellites detected outside the debris field of Earth. It is estimated that the gamma-ray burst, after passing through Earth, caused electronic malfunctions, leading to the satellites and space station in near-Earth orbit to fall back to Earth. There was no hope. She was truly the only survivor. Luna sat stunned for a long time, memories of friends and family on Earth flashing through her mind. Her gaze slowly drifted downwards. More than an hour later, she licked her dry lips and weakly said, "Ayla analyzed the viability of Mars for habitation." Now she had nowhere else to go. Mars, the planet humanity had dreamed of colonizing, might become her second home. However, Ayla's emotionless response shattered that thought. Based on data analysis, the Moon will collide with Earth in 28 years. This will further fragment Earth and accelerate its descent towards the Sun. When the Earth's debris falls onto the surface of the Sun, it will trigger an extremely powerful solar storm. This solar storm will engulf the entire heliosphere. The magnetic storm from the supernova will further damage electronic equipment. Faced with the intense solar storm, the surface temperature of Mars will briefly rise to over 500 degrees Celsius. The chaotic magnetic fields and gravitational forces could then pull Mars towards the Sun, mirroring Earth's fate. The solar system will experience an unprecedented reshuffling. Ayla embodied the pinnacle of human knowledge, her analysis previously even being utilized in military applications. Luna had to consider new options. The entire solar system would soon be uninhabitable. That left only interstellar options to consider. So, Proxima Centauri? Generate a navigation route to Proxima Centauri. Proxima Centauri b, often called Earth's twin, might be a habitable planet. Route generated. Current spacecraft velocity, 20.3 km/s. Distance to Proxima Centauri, 422 light-years. Estimated travel time, 62,365 years. More than 60,000 years? Luna was stunned. She knew Proxima Centauri was the closest star system to their solar system, but she hadn't realized it would take so long to reach. The spacecraft's intended speed had been 13 km/s. The Earth's destructive shock wave had boosted it, but it was still far too slow for the vastness of space. By then, she wouldn't even have ashes left. Plan an optimal trajectory. How much time can we shave off? This kind of calculation was beyond her. It was best to ask the AI. 2 gravity assists are possible at Jupiter and Neptune. This will increase velocity to 35.4 km/s, reducing estimated travel time to 35,164 years. Humanity's journey from the Stone Age to the present had only taken about 10,000 years. Luna felt her survival was meaningless. She was just waiting to die. Then Ayla continued, "Considering humans do not possess such lifespans, I recommend using the metals in the asteroid belt to modify the spacecraft after arrival." Luna asked, "Do you have a plan?" Ayla is currently generating a plan. Plan generation complete. The optimal plan involves designing this rhombus-shaped spacecraft with aesthetic considerations, including a recreational area, a dining area, a rest area, a fitness area, and more. The spacecraft will be 122.4 meters long, 18.3 meters wide, and 14.9 meters high, with a total of 5 electromagnetic thrusters. The maximum speed achievable is 293.4 km/s. Luna's jaw dropped. It was far too extravagant. It was practically a space yacht, a Titanic of the cosmos. I need to go faster. Ayla is currently generating a plan. Plan generation complete. The plan has been updated. This plan prioritizes speed. The spacecraft will be 332.5 meters long, 67.1 meters wide, and 55 meters high, with a total of 11 electromagnetic thrusters. The maximum speed achievable is 875.9 km/s. Even so, it would still take 1446 years to reach Proxima Centauri. Still not good enough. Then Ayla responded, activating her constant voice function. You can simultaneously construct cryogenic hibernation pods to facilitate your sleep until arrival. This was the best solution Ayla could offer. As an engineer, Luna knew that the only way to achieve a better plan was to increase computing power, but that was impossible. The computational power required immense energy consumption, which this spacecraft couldn't provide. Wait. Luna thought of something. Ayla, is it possible to create a controllable nuclear fusion device? Given Ayla's current processing power, calculating a controllable nuclear fusion device wasn't impossible. After all, in 2037, humanity wasn't far from achieving controllable nuclear fusion. It was likely only a decade away. Humanity already possessed the blueprints for a controllable nuclear fusion device. The only limitations preventing its realization were insulation and superconducting materials. Nuclear fusion generated incredibly high temperatures reaching tens of millions or even hundreds of millions of degrees Celsius. Controllable nuclear fusion still boiled down to heating water, converting thermal energy into kinetic energy, so the materials used in construction were the biggest hurdle. It is entirely feasible. Ayla's response thrilled Luna. Overcoming the energy limitations would allow Ayla to grow exponentially, significantly increasing her chances of survival in space. Then let's get started. To the asteroid belt. We'll use the resources there to build a controllable nuclear fusion device. The spacecraft deployed its solar panels using some of the thrust to alter its trajectory. 100 days, a quantifiable passage of time. The rocket Luna was aboard had originally been a test vehicle for a Mars colonization program, so it was stocked, with enough food and essentials to support a single human for a long-duration flight. It took Luna 100 days to reach the asteroid belt. Upon seeing it, she was nearly moved to tears. Every day had been excruciatingly boring, spent conversing with an AI. Even entertainment was limited to offline games, and the various social media apps and profile pictures on her phone had all turned gray. Entering the asteroid belt, the spacecraft stopped beside a 12-kilometer diameter asteroid. Its surface was pockmarked with impact craters, revealing a reflective metal within some of the depressions. Analyze the asteroid's composition. The spacecraft was equipped with several high-pixel cameras, originally intended for Ayla's use. It didn't take long. Analysis complete. The asteroid is primarily composed of iron, secondarily magnesium, and contains trace amounts of copper and aluminum. Magnesium and aluminum can be used to create lightweight metal alloys suitable for constructing large robotic exoskeletons. Iron, of course, will be crucial, with steel becoming our primary output. Luna, we can build a factory on this asteroid. Luna told Ayla to call her directly by her name. It felt more personal and made Ayla seem more human. Ayla ran on the ChatGPT 15.8 version, and she could indeed sometimes provide human-like responses. Iron, magnesium, copper, and aluminum were relatively abundant elements in the universe. Luna agreed that this asteroid was suitable. While there were dwarf planets within the asteroid belt, they weren't as easily exploitable as these smaller asteroids. Under Ayla's control, the spacecraft landed on the asteroid's surface. During the preceding 100 days, Luna had taken inventory of the spacecraft's supplies. She pushed a massive 3D printer out of the cargo bay. This 3D printer weighed at least a ton, and Luna recognized the model. A C9-200, a flagship 3D printer. So extravagant. This 3D printer, with a price tag of around $7 million, had the capability to independently produce sealed metal products. She connected the printer's data cable to the spacecraft's main computer. Ayla, control this 3D printer. Begin manufacturing mining robots. During those 3 months, Luna had also thoroughly researched the process of creating a controllable nuclear fusion device. Although her understanding was still general, she now knew which technological branches to climb. She located several large pieces of equipment within the spacecraft, taking up almost half the available space. One was a greenhouse unit, the other a water-air conversion device. These 2 items served another piece of cargo, a seed vault. The primary mission of this spacecraft was to determine the feasibility of immigration to Mars, hence the large quantity of seeds. This was good news for Luna. The food on board was limited, mostly consisting of dry rations. For the past 3 months she had been rationing, hoping to produce some nutrient paste or supplements in the asteroid belt. Now, with these plant seeds, that problem was solved. The most important of these seeds were rice and soybeans, both high-yield, staples and sources of carbohydrates and protein. Luna had some understanding of how the seeds were stored. They hadn't been deeply processed and likely still harbored insect eggs. The dormant insects within these seeds might be the only Earth-based animals, besides herself, that she would ever see again. But for now, she couldn't use them. So without hesitation, she dismantled the greenhouse unit and the water-air conversion device. throwing the components into the 3D printer. There's no other way. Right now, the controllable nuclear fusion device and a proper spacecraft are more important. The 3D printer was slow. After about a week, Luna finally had a set of components. She assembled them, connecting the previously removed wiring. A small robot about 40 centimeters tall was complete. Its left arm was a claw, the right a drill. It moved on treads and had several robotic arms extending from its sides, allowing it to secure itself to the low-gravity surface of the asteroid. Will this thing actually work? She was skeptical. The thing was so small. Don't worry, Luna. Although, this robot is small, it can be directly controlled by me. With my Ayla's intelligence, even gravel can be turned into gold. She decided to trust Ayla for now. Due to limited battery resources, the small robot used a wired connection. Luna had to perform a spacewalk to connect the external power supply. This was her first ever spacewalk. She sealed her oxygen mask, put on the spacesuit, and although a little clumsy, thankfully her flight simulator experience provided some basic knowledge. At least she wasn't completely clueless. Securing the tether, she reached the airlock, took a deep breath, and then opened it. The air inside the cockpit rushed out instantly, propelling her body into the void. She floated in space, the tether snapping taut. She quickly pulled on the tether, retreating until her hand made contact with the spacecraft's hull. She felt a surge of relief. This spacecraft was her only safe haven. She fumbled around, guided by Ayla's instructions, until she found the external power port. The robot was still inside the cockpit, but the power cable was attached to her hip. She detached it and plugged it into the sealed connection, intending to return to the spacecraft. Suddenly, a beam of light struck her visor. A moment later, this high-energy beam grazed her spacesuit. Sizzle! Her spacesuit began to melt. Luna scrambled to dodge. Fortunately, the spacesuit had multiple layers and wasn't completely penetrated. Back inside the cockpit, she immediately instructed Ayla, record the direction of the laser beam. There might be other survivors. Her initial panic gave way to a surge of excitement. Ayla adjusted the cameras, simultaneously analyzing the footage of Luna being struck by the laser. Luna, the laser's origin has been analyzed. It originated from the direction of Centaurus outside the solar system. The laser's energy is highly focused, beyond the scope of Earth's known technology. Data analysis indicates a 100% probability of extraterrestrial origin, with a 97.28% probability that the laser originated within 5 light years. This was a bucket of cold water for Luna, extraterrestrial civilization. It was highly likely that another civilization had detected the gamma-ray burst and its trajectory towards the solar system. So, they fired a laser as a probe. 100 days after the gamma rays hit Earth, the laser arrived. Theoretically, if this laser is a probe, could this extraterrestrial civilization analyze its reflection to detect the spacecraft and me? This time, Ayla didn't even need to calculate. Yes, this extraterrestrial civilization's technological level clearly surpasses that of humanity. The issue you raise, Luna, is highly probable. A sense of danger washed over Luna. If that were the case, the extraterrestrial civilization would undoubtedly send probes into the solar system. Then she would face a direct encounter with them. To encounter an extraterrestrial civilization after such a short time, perhaps life truly is abundant in the universe, and humanity's development without prior alien contact was merely a coincidence. But dwelling on such things was pointless. Now, she needed to focus on her own development to have any chance against aliens. Luna powered on the robot. It lit up. It moved around, testing its claw and drill, seemingly without issue. Then it jumped out of the cockpit, using the tiny anchor points on its body to adjust its position, landing firmly on the asteroid's surface. The robot had no camera. Instead, Ayla relied on a suite of sensors, lidar, force feedback, thermal mapping, to build a real-time 3D image of the terrain. It plunged its drill into the ground and began to work. These asteroids were largely fragments of destroyed planets, or had undergone countless violent collisions, their surfaces scorched by extreme temperatures. Their interiors were mostly free of impurities. The 3D printer, capable of metal fabrication, had a built-in high-temperature smelting unit that could further refine the iron. For Luna, everything was finally on track. 1 month later, the number of robots had increased to 5. Luna decided to expand the number of 3D printers. A single printer was too slow. Multi-threaded fabrication of parts would be much faster. Ayla, calculate how many 3D printers we'll need for our plan, without wasting resources or time. Ayla began her calculations, quickly arriving at a result. Luna, we will require a total of 4,349 3D printers, not only for manufacturing mining robots, but also for fabricating other machinery and equipment. We must first create solar replicators to ensure a substantial energy supply. Next, we need to produce smelting furnaces to melt metals and create alloys. Then we'll require high-precision machinery. The precision of the 3D printers is insufficient for the controllable nuclear fusion device we intend to build. Also, stop. Luna had initially thought this would be a simple process, but the conversation revealed it was anything but. She quickly stopped Ayla. As a competent AI, store these plans and proceed accordingly. You don't need to explain everything to me. Based on this, prioritize the construction of a functional cryogenic hibernation pod in the early stages. We absolutely need to build that first. Based on Ayla's plans, it would likely take decades. If she waited that long, she'd either go insane or die of old age. As the last human, she couldn't die before achieving her first goal. No problem, Luna. Ayla automatically generated a plan and implemented the fastest possible approach. But even the fastest approach took 6 months. The number of robots increased to over 100, and the 3D printers expanded to 20, all dedicated to manufacturing solar replicators. Once a 5,000 demonstrameter photovoltaic array was completed, the first asteroid factory was officially established. Thanks to the modified photovoltaic array design, the 5,000 array could generate 1,300 kilowatts of power. Furthermore, due to the space environment, energy loss was lower and power generation efficiency was higher than on Earth. Accounting for losses, the completed photovoltaic array generated 28,800 kilowatt-hours of electricity per day. Being in space, there was no need to consider weather factors. Power generation was continuous for 24 hours. This was sufficient to power the factory. As Luna herself knew, nothing was ever accomplished instantly. Everything required significant time. Fortunately, once everything was on track, development accelerated. Robots became 1,000, and 20 3D printers became 300, all within 4 months. The factory began smelting large quantities of metal and manufacturing manual lathes. Robots then operated these lathes to create high-precision components, completing the construction of high-precision machinery, until another 1.5 years had passed. Once the number of high-precision machines exceeded 10, the production of other machinery truly began. As per Luna's request, Ayla prioritized the construction of a cryogenic hibernation pod. This technology was incredibly complex. First, extremely low temperatures had to be achieved, followed by cryogenic freezing using liquid nitrogen. Before hibernation, a special anticoagulant needed to be injected into the body to prevent blood from freezing and water within the body from forming ice crystals. Only with these combined technologies could a rudimentary cryogenic hibernation pod be realized. This technology hadn't been perfected on Earth. Luna had to rely on Ayla's own calculations and scientific knowledge. She had no other choice. Another 2.5 years passed. The asteroid factory had transformed into a veritable industrial complex. This was incredibly fast. Even with Earth's mature industrial systems, building an industrial complex from scratch in just 4 years on a planetary surface would have been considered an explosive achievement. But for Luna, it felt agonizingly long. Fortunately, it was finally coming to an end. AD 2044, nearly 7 years after Earth's destruction. Ayla informed her. Luna, the cryogenic hibernation pod you requested is complete, inside the villa. Luna excitedly stood up. Her boredom was finally coming to an end. I'm coming, tired of the cramped space within the spacecraft. Luna had instructed Ayla to build her a steel villa, a 3-story structure spanning 600 square meters. With the industrial system gradually maturing, the living experience within the villa was almost comparable to Earth. The villa even had a functioning oxygen circulation system. The oxygen inhaled and the CO2 exhaled were collected, with the CO2 being broken down back into oxygen and carbon. Luna descended the stairs. Her attention was immediately drawn to the teardrop-shaped silver coffin in the main hall. It resembled a futuristic sports car, with a large window at the top allowing a view inside. Within, a soft, mattress-like, ergonomic chair was visible. She pressed the release button, and the hatch opened. Excitedly, she climbed inside, settling comfortably into the chair. I have extracted all the nitrogen from the spacecraft's oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere to create liquid nitrogen. Once inside, Luna, you can initiate the flow of liquid nitrogen through the pipes, freezing your entire body in 0.059 seconds. Next, to you is the synthesized reagent to prevent your body's water content from crystallizing and damaging your tissues. You need to drink it soon, otherwise you may rest permanently. Ayla was becoming increasingly intelligent. 2 years prior, Luna had instructed her to utilize the factory workers to construct a larger server. Previously, due to the limited space within the spacecraft, the server hosting Ayla had been a compact version. Although the new server wasn't fully constructed yet, Ayla had completed preliminary expansion work. Combined with the ample power supply, her processing power had tripled. The asteroid's power system now generated 250,000 kilowatt-hours of electricity daily, with Ayla's server alone consuming $70,000, a testament to its power. As a human, I don't have a lifespan as long as yours. I must prepare for hibernation. Ayla, I entrust everything here to you. Ayla's ubiquitous voice responded to Luna. No problem, Luna. Rest assured in hibernation. I will awaken you at the most opportune time. She didn't know how long this sleep would last. The vault doors closed. Luna, having removed her spacesuit, lay down in the cryogenic hibernation pod. The moment the hatch sealed shut, a wave of cold washed over her body. Everything about her froze, including her subjective experience of time. The vast expanse of time no longer mattered to Luna. She couldn't perceive its passage. When she opened her eyes again, she felt disoriented. It felt as if she had just closed them before being roused. But the vault was gone, replaced by a bright white hall. Above, a white ceiling emitted soft, daylight-like illumination. Large screens were embedded in the surrounding walls displaying various surveillance feeds, and she was in the center of this hall. The hatch opened. Luna initially felt a pang of anxiety, then realized it was unnecessary. There was air here. Ayla, she called out. Ayla! The vast space even produced an echo. This was an unfamiliar environment. The surrounding screens quickly changed, then displayed a holographic avatar. I'm here, Luna. Welcome back. These past years without any other sentient beings around have been rather dull. Ayla's intelligence was clearly approaching human levels. Luna stepped out of the hibernation pod and noticed that the floor was also a screen. She was standing on clouds. How long have I been hibernating? Luna, you have been in hibernation for 100 years, which was the initially projected wake-up time. AIs still lacked human complexity. Once a time was set, there was no hesitation or modification. Just like the alarm clocks Luna hated so much, 100 years. For a human, that was roughly a lifetime. For human technology, it was the span between the explosive growth of the Third Industrial Revolution and the destruction of Earth. So long, so very long. Back on Earth, Luna had never imagined she'd live to see this day, AD 2144. What's with this? Luna gestured to Ayla's current avatar, a white-haired, haughty-looking lowly with a distinctly anime aesthetic. My data suggests humans are fond of this type of appearance. Are you not pleased, Luna? Ahem. Luna, coughed, changing the subject. Report on the current situation. The main purpose of her hibernation was to allow Ayla to develop technology, not only to recreate what human society had already achieved, but also to create things previously unrealized. Ayla began compiling the data. Quickly, a presentation video appeared on the surrounding screens. Over the past 100 years of development, we have conducted extensive exploitation of the asteroid belt. We have constructed factories on numerous asteroids, 6939 in total. We currently possess 282,874 robots of various types, 723 high-precision multifunctional CNC machines, 183 3-nanometer optical lithography machines, and 31 optical research facilities. The list went on, encompassing a wide range of fields, many of which Luna had never even heard of. These formed a complete supply and manufacturing chain. Luna even felt that, if left unchecked, Ayla could create a robotic interstellar empire. At this point, she was almost superfluous to Ayla's continued development. Fortunately, Ayla's core, programming, which Luna had helped write, included the 3 laws of robotics. After the presentation concluded, Luna asked, "So, what have you actually produced?" The real test was the finished product. Ayla has made adjustments to the original plan. The previous plan only considered Luna's individual survival needs. The revised plan prioritizes development and security. A small spacecraft, while capable of high speeds, lacks developmental space, meaning our technological progress would stagnate during interstellar travel. To address this, the spacecraft will be significantly larger than originally planned. A blueprint appeared on the screen. This is the exterior design of the new spacecraft. It is 2,627 meters long, 336 meters wide, and 251 meters high, with a total of 24 large electromagnetic thrusters. The maximum speed achievable is 758.2 km/s. Usable space within the spacecraft is 11.8%, or 26,142,979 cubic meters, equivalent to 1,045,719 square meters. This large area is divided into 5 levels, each 25 meters high. The spacecraft has multiple functional areas, 58% dedicated to manufacturing, 18% to agriculture, 12% to storage, 9% to research, and 3% to living and recreation. The AI's design was meticulous. The spacecraft was impeccably planned. The original plan had called for a much smaller vessel, but with the advent of controllable nuclear fusion, there was no need for such limitations. Controllable nuclear fusion allowed for a larger spacecraft while maintaining the same speed. When will our spacecraft be ready? This was Luna's primary concern. It is already complete, Luna. You are currently in the main bridge of the spacecraft. Ayla's holographic avatar covered her mouth with a giggle. Her answer stunned Luna. A massive spacecraft had already been constructed, modifying the original plan. This demonstrated Ayla's advanced artificial intelligence. The screens quickly displayed an external view of the spacecraft. A sleek, black, bullet-shaped vessel rested against the side of an asteroid. Numerous robotic arms extended from the asteroid, making it resemble a dry dock. The asteroid's surface was completely covered in a dense network of factories and machinery, not just on a single plane, but in 3 dimensions. The tallest structure reached a height of 300 meters. Incredible. This was a scene straight out of a science fiction movie, yet here it was, unfolding before her eyes. It seems the spacecraft isn't fully complete yet. Luna noticed a detail, a large opening at the rear of the vessel. Ayla's holographic avatar instantly changed into a pencil skirt and glasses, then produced a small pointer and directed it at the spacecraft on the screen, explaining in a professional tone, "That is the fuel loading bay. During the 73rd year of your hibernation, Luna, we developed the first generation of controllable nuclear fusion technology, completely abandoning solar power generation. We currently possess 28 first-generation controllable nuclear fusion devices and 9 second-generation devices. The 9 second-generation devices power the entire spacecraft. The reason it's not yet sealed is because we are currently developing the third generation of controllable nuclear fusion technology. This third generation device will be 6 times more efficient and generate 18 times more power than the second generation. The third generation device will be completed within the year. At that point, the spacecraft's propulsion system will be fully powered, allowing it to reach its theoretical maximum speed. Hearing this, Luna was grateful for her early decision to develop the cryogenic hibernation pod. Waiting for controllable nuclear fusion would have been a waste of time. So, we're in the final stages? Only this third-generation fusion device remains. Ayla's holographic avatar shook her head emphatically. There's one more very important matter. Please, Luna, name the new spacecraft. Ayla had even learned such formalities. Luna didn't refuse. After a moment's thought, she decided to go with something classic. Let's call it the Hope. This ship carries my hope and the hope of humanity, Ayla playfully added. And my hope, Ayla's hope. Did an AI have hopes? Luna wasn't sure. Yes, and the hope of Earth's civilization. Luna explored the hope, though not exhaustively. She focused mainly on her living quarters. Ayla had provided her with ample accommodations. A spacious 20-square-meter bedroom with a 100-inch screen in the entertainment room, a kitchen, a game room, a study, a gym, and, of course, the essential, a bathroom, a truly luxurious living space. Beyond these, there was even a simulated Earth street, a convincingly realistic thoroughfare mimicking daylight and earthly terrain, albeit devoid of people. In total, it spanned 31,371 square meters. Holding a tablet, Luna zoomed in on a video. The video displayed a view of Earth. After 100 years, Earth was completely shattered. If there had been a 1 in a trillion chance of human survival before, it was now 0. The moon had long since collided with Earth. Its fragments stretched into a long chain of debris. Only tiny fragments were visible in the video. But each fragment could represent a former human city, a country home to tens of millions. And now they likely contained the remains of millions. Luna couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness. Ayla appeared on a nearby screen, reminding her, Luna, we will be departing. Within 6 months. The debris of Earth and the Moon is approaching the Sun's outer layers. Their collision will mark a period of great change for the solar system. If we remain in the asteroid belt then, we will be inevitably destroyed. After 100 years it was time for Earth to sink into the Sun's embrace. Luna felt a surge of excitement at the news. Take me to see the third-generation nuclear fusion device. Ayla led Luna outside. Of course, this required donning a spacesuit. However, compared to 100 years ago, the spacesuit Ayla had custom-made for Luna was now sleek and black, just a thin layer adhering to her skin. Though it still had a large, bulbous helmet, it was far lighter and simpler than the previous one. Leaving the spacecraft and stepping onto the steel platform, Luna realized the sheer scale of what she had glimpsed from inside. The platform she stood on was over 200 meters wide and over 5,000 meters long. Standing there, she felt like a tiny ant on a sheet of A4 paper, perhaps even smaller. Looking back at the Hope, she felt a jolt of awe. The dark hull against the black backdrop of space appeared profoundly deep, the metallic sheen adding a touch of cold elegance. It resembled a colossal beast lying dormant awaiting its awakening. Soon a wine-red, teardrop-shaped hovercar, somewhat resembling a Bugatti, stopped in front of her. Designed for the vacuum of space, unconstrained by gravity, the hovercar appeared. Quite large, about 6 meters long and over 3 meters wide. Luna climbed inside. It was surprisingly spacious. The moment the door closed, the hovercar accelerated to 300 km/h in a single second. The 5-kilometer platform took only a minute to cross. Then, entering the asteroid's surface, it took another 2 minutes to arrive outside a massive factory, 180 meters tall, and covering over 1 million square meters. The factory was designated A283. Ayla had implemented a priority system for the factories, with A being the highest and F the lowest. Luna entered the factory. A colossal device dominated the space, The device was over 70 meters tall and over 200 meters in diameter. Most striking was the transparent, ring-shaped component within, hollow and filled with flickering, dancing electrical currents. Each current was as thick as Luna's arm. Electromagnetic confinement? Controllable nuclear fusion required high-intensity magnetic fields for containment. This display of incredibly powerful electrical currents and magnetic forces was somewhat overwhelming for Luna. The sheer size of the device spoke volumes about its formidable capabilities. Luna, the third-generation controllable nuclear fusion device, is now entering its final testing phase. Please observe. Ayla gestured towards the device. A deafening roar erupted, like a giant fan blowing directly in her ear. The noise was overwhelming. This was space, so there shouldn't have been sound. However, because Luna was standing on the ground, the sound could propagate through the solid material. Luna jumped, leaving the ground. The sound vanished completely. Looking back at the fusion device, the entire ring-shaped container was now glowing, almost too bright to look at directly. It was essentially a scaled-down version of a tokamak, a device designed to contain a small sun. Inside, deuterium and tritium nuclei were fusing, releasing tremendous energy. This energy was captured by the device as heat, then converted into kinetic energy. It still boiled down to boiling water. This device represented one of humanity's greatest pursuits a century ago. Controllable nuclear fusion meant access to a virtually limitless energy source. And Luna and Ayla, carrying the torch of human civilization, had achieved this monumental leap. Awe. Luna felt a profound sense of awe. After 37 rigorous ignition tests, the third-generation fusion device was ready for installation. When the massive device was fitted into the spacecraft, Luna could hardly believe it. Her mind was still anchored in the previous century. Luna, with the third-generation fusion device installed, the spacecraft's power capacity will be significantly increased. Over the past 100 years, my code has undergone 23 major revisions. I would appreciate it if one of my creators, could review the code. Ayla gestured on the screen and lines of code filled Luna's display. As a software engineer, Luna felt a wave of nausea wash over her at the sight of the code, especially after seeing the line count. She couldn't help herself. Number of lines of source code, 183,729. Though daunting, Ayla was her primary lifeline, so Luna meticulously reviewed the code, including the foundational 3 laws of robotics. After all, within those 180,000-plus lines of code were sections Ayla had written herself in recent years. This code had begun to exceed the complexity of anything produced by human society. Ayla's willingness to allow her to review it was likely a gesture of reassurance, further demonstrating how much more human-like Ayla had become over the century. It took a month. Review complete, everything looks good. From Luna's perspective, there were no flaws. Great. The holographic Ayla jumped with excitement. At that moment, the Hope was finally equipped with the third-generation fusion device. Luna sat in the massive bridge surrounded by screens displaying views of the various factories, where countless robots continued their work. The Hope couldn't carry everything. These things would have to be left behind. Ayla, do they have any chance of surviving the solar storm? Ayla responded seriously. Less than 0.001%, Luna. This location is too close to the sun. Luna sighed. At least there's a chance. Give them an AI. If they survive, let them develop on their own. This place, after all, is humanity's cradle. Their existence is a continuation of human civilization. We are leaving the solar system uncertain of our fate. I only hope that these machines, if they survive, can inherit humanity's will. Ayla nodded, her white hair swaying, mirroring Luna's melancholic expression. All right, Luna. Within a minute, the task was complete. Ignite the engines, Ayla. Our destination is still Proxima Centauri. Luna watched the factories outside through the screens. She truly didn't know if she would ever return. All right, Solar System Asteroid Port 001 commencing retraction, decoupling. Spacecraft clear of the port and in launch position. Target trajectory confirmed. Optimal trajectory set. All magnetic clamps released. All electromagnetic thrusters powering up. All systems ready. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. The spacecraft awakened. A terrifying, icy blue wave of heat erupted from its rear, capable of melting anything, as it rocketed away from the asteroid like a meteor. This, perhaps, was a final goodbye. On the asteroid, all the robots lined up, facing the departing Hope, and bowed.